Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're going to be looking at something
Okay.
that I know a lot of people have questions about,
Right.
figuring out holiday parenting time
Yeah,
in Illinois,
absolutely.
especially if your family has kind of a unique situation.
Yes, you're right to focus on that.
We want to make sure you have a schedule that works
Yeah,
and that you're ready for any challenges that might pop up.
absolutely. There's no one-size-fits-all solution when it comes to holidays after divorce.
Right, and especially in a state like Illinois with its specific legal considerations.
Oh, yeah.
That's why we're diving deep into this article from Anderson, Boback, and Marshall.
Okay, great.
They're a Chicago-based law firm.
Okay, cool.
The article is called Holiday Parenting Time in Illinois, a practical guide for divorced and separated parents.
Okay.
It was just published October 18th, 2024.
Wow, so that's great.
Piping hot off the presses.
Yeah, because family law can change quickly.
Exactly.
Having outdated information can lead to real headaches.
Totally. So the article really emphasizes having a temporary order in place,
Okay.
which basically means a legally binding agreement that outlines the holiday parenting schedule.
Gotcha.
And it really helps minimize any potential conflict or confusion,
Right.
especially right after the divorce.
That makes a lot of sense.
It brings a sense of certainty.
Certainty, yeah, from day
In
one,
day one.
because holidays can be stressful,
Oh, yeah.
and divorce can amplify those emotions.
Absolutely.
So having that temporary order can bring a sense of peace of mind,
Okay, so we know we need that temporary order,
right?
but where do we even begin with creating a schedule that actually works?
So the most common approach in Illinois is an alternating holiday schedule
Right.
based on even and odd years.
Gotcha.
So one year you have Thanksgiving, the next year your co-parent does a...
Yeah.
Courts in Illinois are pretty keen on this system.
Ah, so it's like a friendly game of holiday ping pong.
Exactly. But just like a game,
Yeah.
there are rules. Sometimes those rules need to be tweaked based on the players.
Okay, I like that analogy.
Mm.
So when would a court deviate from the standard ping pong schedule?
So religious holidays and long-standing family traditions can often lead to adjustments.
Yeah.
For example, if one family always has a huge Christmas Eve gathering
Right.
and the other family's big celebration is on Christmas Day, it wouldn't make sense to split those up.
Yeah, you'd want to maintain that consistency for the kids, right?
Exactly.
It wouldn't feel like Christmas if those traditions were suddenly disrupted.
Yeah, and that's something the courts in Illinois take very seriously.
Yeah.
They want to preserve those special family moments.
Now let's get real life happens.
Okay.
Things change.
Yeah.
What happens if down the line, that seemingly perfect holiday schedule needs a little tweaking?
That's where the concept of a substantial change in circumstances comes in.
Okay.
It's the legal basis for modifying any existing agreement.
Okay, so you're telling me I can't just go back to court
Yeah.
because I suddenly decided I'd rather have Halloween than Thanksgiving?
Yeah, you got it.
Okay.
It has to be a significant change that genuinely impacts the ability to follow the original parenting plan.
Oh.
For example, a parent relocating a considerable distance away,
Yeah.
that would qualify,
Okay.
or a major shift in work schedules
Yeah.
makes the previous arrangement impossible.
Uh-huh.
Even a remarriage that brings new step-siblings into the picture could mean some adjustments.
So let's say a substantial change does happen.
Okay.
We realize, hey,
Yeah.
this holiday schedule isn't working anymore.
Uh-huh.
Is it lawyer up and head straight back to court?
Not so fast.
Okay.
First step is always to try to reach an agreement with your co-parent directly.
Okay.
Many allocation judgments will include regular review periods,
Okay.
maybe annually, to
Gotcha.
assess whether any adjustments are needed.
Right. So it's not like you're locked into that initial schedule forever.
Exactly.
But let's be honest. Sometimes agreeing with your co-parent can feel like, well, like trying to herd cats.
Sure.
What happens when you hit a roadblock?
Mediation can be a really helpful option.
Okay.
A neutral third party can help facilitate the conversation,
Uh-huh.
guide you towards a mutually agreeable solution.
Gotcha.
But if all else fails,
Yeah.
and you've exhausted all other avenues, then yes.
Okay.
Sometimes heading back to court becomes necessary.
Okay. I get it. Going back to court isn't anyone's ideal scenario.
Yeah.
I can see how it could be the final step to
Okay.
ensure things actually work for everyone.
Exactly. And remember, the court's primary focus will always be what's in the best interest of the children.
Now, this is where it gets really interesting,
Okay.
at least for my nerdy legal mind.
Okay.
What happens when a holiday, say Christmas Eve,
Mm-hmm.
falls smack dab in the middle of a week?
Yeah.
That's typically allocated to the other parent.
Okay.
Does regular parenting time just get trumped by the holiday?
That's a question I get a lot.
Okay.
The answer is generally speaking, yes. The article lays out kind of a hierarchy.
Uh-huh.
Holidays usually take precedence over regular parenting time.
Okay.
School breaks fall somewhere in between.
Gotcha.
But to avoid confusion and those last-minute scrambles,
Yeah.
it's crucial to have this clearly spelled out in your agreement.
Oh, I can see how that would be a recipe for disaster.
Yes.
So you're saying if the agreement clearly states that Christmas Eve goes to parent A,
Right.
even if it falls within parent B's allocated week,
Exactly.
there's no room for debate. It's all settled.
That's the beauty of a well-crafted agreement.
Okay.
It eliminates the guesswork and minimizes the potential for conflict.
That makes a lot of sense. So far, we've covered the basics of creating a schedule,
Yeah.
modifying it if life throws a curveball,
Right.
navigating those tricky overlaps between holidays and regular parenting time.
Right.
But let's face it, not every family fits neatly into a standard alternating schedule.
Right.
It just hit me.
Okay.
This whole process of creating a holiday parenting schedule,
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of like assembling a giant, oddly shaped jigsaw puzzle.
Oh, I see what you mean.
We got all these pieces,
Yeah.
to fit together.
Yeah.
Holidays themselves,
Yeah.
regular parenting schedule,
Yeah.
maybe some school breaks,
Sure.
kids' ages, what they enjoy doing,
Right.
family traditions,
Absolutely.
toss in work schedules,
Uh-huh.
maybe even travel time.
Yeah.
If one parent lives farther away,
That's a great analogy.
it's enough to make your head spin.
It is a lot of different factors to consider.
And you're trying to make all these pieces fit together
Mm.
into a picture that actually looks well harmonious.
Right. You want it to be as seamless as possible.
So let's get practical.
Okay.
We've talked about the big picture stuff,
Yeah.
but
Uh-huh.
what are some concrete steps parents can take
Sure.
to build that holiday schedule puzzle?
So to speak.
Make sure it actually works for their unique situation.
I would say the first tip might sound obvious, but you'd be surprised how many people miss this one. Start early.
Okay.
Don't wait till the week before Thanksgiving
Right.
to try to hammer out a plan.
Gotcha.
Ideally,
Yeah.
you want to aim to have your holiday schedule finalized
Mm-hmm.
by mid-October,
Okay.
well before the holiday rush begins.
That makes a ton of sense.
Yeah.
Holidays are stressful enough
Right.
without adding last-minute scheduling scrambles.
Exactly.
Okay, so I've marked it on my calendar.
Good.
Start holiday planning by October 15th.
Excellent.
What's next?
Next, it's all about clarity.
Okay.
Your own clarity, that is.
Right.
Before you even sit down with your co-parent,
Yeah.
take some time to reflect on your own priorities.
Okay.
What are the most important things to you when it comes to holiday time with your kids?
What do I absolutely need?
Yes.
What would be nice to have?
Uh-huh.
What am I willing to be flexible on?
That kind of
thing.
Are there specific holidays that are non-negotiable for you?
Uh-huh.
Certain family traditions super important to maintain? Ensuring that your kids have quality time with both sides of the family a top priority.
I bet writing all of that down, almost like a checklist, would be helpful.
That's a fantastic idea.
That way you can refer back to it during those co-parenting conversations
Absolutely.
and make sure you're staying true to your own needs.
I love that strategy.
Totally.
Having that clarity about your own priorities makes communication much easier.
Uh-huh.
Plus, it helps you identify potential areas where compromise might be needed.
Okay, so we've started early. We've done our homework.
Yeah.
We've identified what matters most to us.
Perfect.
Now it's time for the main event.
Okay.
Sitting down with our co-parent
Right.
and actually hashing out the schedule.
You got it.
This is where those communication skills we talked about earlier really come into play.
Absolutely.
Approach it as a collaborative process.
Yes.
Not a battle.
Not a competition.
Remember, you and your co-parent are on the same team.
That's right.
Team Happy Holidays for the kids.
Exactly, because ultimately that's the goal.
We're not trying to win the holidays.
Right.
We're trying to create a plan
Uh-huh.
that allows everyone to enjoy them.
That's the key.
And don't forget, your co-parent likely has their own list of priorities
Absolutely.
and non-negotiables.
Of course.
Be prepared to listen to their perspective
Yes.
and to find creative solutions that work for both of you.
That's right. It's a team effort.
Okay, so let's say we've had the conversation.
Yeah.
We've listened to each other.
Uh-huh.
We've identified those areas
Yeah.
where our priorities align perfectly.
Okay.
Those areas where maybe a little compromise is needed.
Right.
What are some practical strategies
Sure.
for actually hammering out the details of the schedule?
One strategy I find incredibly helpful is creating a visual calendar.
Okay.
Doesn't have to be fancy.
Mm-hmm.
You can use a physical calendar a whiteboard,
Right?
or even a shared online calendar.
Gotcha.
If you're feeling tech savvy,
Okay.
start by marking all the holidays,
Uh-huh.
then add in your regular parenting time schedule so you can see at a glance where those potential overlaps or conflicts might occur.
So you're basically building a visual representation
Exactly.
of that puzzle we talked about
I
earlier.
love that analogy.
And once you've got that visual framework,
Uh-huh.
you can start experimenting with different solutions.
Right.
For example, you might consider swapping holidays one year
Yeah.
to accommodate a special family event,
That's a great idea.
or agreeing to split a holiday with each parent having the kids for part of the day.
That's a common solution.
Flexibility is key.
Absolutely.
I'm starting to see how all these pieces fit together.
Yeah.
I really like the idea of using a calendar
Me too.
to make it all crystal clear.
It just simplifies everything.
Another crucial thing to remember is travel time.
Oh, yes. Good point.
If one parent lives farther away, factor that into the schedule,
Absolutely.
especially during peak holiday periods.
Right.
Those long drives or expensive flights
Huh?
can add an extra layer of stress. And it's important to ensure that the burden is shared fairly.
I agree.
It's not just about the time spent celebrating.
Right.
It's also about the logistics of getting everyone where they need to be.
Absolutely. You want to make sure it's equitable for both parents.
Once you've mapped out that tentative schedule,
Uh-huh.
don't just leave it as a verbal agreement.
No.
Get it in writing.
Get it in writing.
This could be a simple informal document that you both sign, or you might consider incorporating it into your existing parenting plan
Okay.
through a formal modification.
Right.
That way, if there's ever a dispute later on,
Uh-huh.
you've got that clear written record to refer back to.
Absolutely.
It's like having that final piece of the puzzle
I like it.
that locks everything into place.
Very visual. I like it.
And keep in mind, this is an ongoing process.
Yes. Very important to remember that.
As your kids grow older, their needs and interests will change.
Absolutely.
Your family dynamics might shift as well. So be prepared to revisit and adjust your holiday schedule as needed.
Right.
Maybe you set aside time each summer
Okay.
to review the upcoming holiday season.
Good idea.
Make any necessary tweaks.
I like that a lot.
It's all about staying adaptable,
Yeah.
keeping the lines of communication open, recognizing that that holiday schedule puzzle might need to be reassembled every now and then.
Right. Exactly. It's not set in stone.
Now let's talk about those families with unique situations.
Okay.
You mentioned blended families.
Yeah.
Families with out-of-town relatives.
Right.
What specific advice
Mm-hmm.
do you have for navigating holiday parenting time
Sure.
when those factors are in play?
When it comes to blended families,
Okay.
I often encourage parents to think of it as an opportunity
Uh-huh.
to create a brand new holiday playbook, so to speak.
I love that.
Rather than viewing it as two separate families trying to share time with the kids,
Uh-huh.
consider it a chance to create new traditions
Gotcha.
that blends everyone's favorite elements.
It's not just about dividing the time.
Right.
It's about creating something new and special
Exactly.
that everyone can enjoy.
It's a fresh start.
What about those families who have traditions of traveling out of town
Mm-hmm.
for the holidays?
Yeah.
Maybe they always visit grandparents in another state,
Uh-huh.
or they have a beloved family cabin they escape to.
Okay.
How do you factor those trips into the parenting time equation?
In these situations,
Yeah.
advanced planning and clear communication are essential.
Okay.
Talk to your co-parent early on in the scheduling process
Gotcha.
about any non-negotiable travel plans.
Okay.
If both parents want to travel with the kids,
Yeah.
you might need to look at alternating years
Right?
or finding ways to split the time,
Okay.
depending on the distance and everyone's preferences.
So, for example, if both parents want to take the kids to visit their respective families
Right.
in different states
Yeah.
for Christmas,
Mm.
it might make sense to alternate years.
That's a good solution.
So the kids get to experience both trips in full.
Exactly.
But if the travel destinations are relatively close to each other,
Mm-hmm.
you might be able to work out a schedule where the kids spend part of the holiday
Right.
with one parent's family
Uh-huh.
and part of the holiday with the other parent's family.
Yeah. That's a possibility, too.
It all depends on your unique situation and what feels best for your family.
It does.
I'm really noticing a theme here.
What's that?
Flexibility,
Yes.
communication,
Uh-huh.
and creative problem solving.
Absolutely.
There's no one-size-fits-all solution.
There isn't.
It's about finding what works best
Uh-huh.
for your unique circumstances
Yeah.
and being willing to adapt as needed.
Being flexible is key.
Even though we're talking about a lot of practical strategies and legal considerations,
Right.
it's important to remember that this whole process can be emotionally challenging,
Oh, absolutely.
especially in the early stages after a divorce.
Yeah, for sure.
Holidays can be a time
Uh-huh.
when those raw emotions are really close to the surface.
Right. It can be a very sensitive time.
Yeah, it can feel like you're navigating a minefield of emotions on
Exactly.
top of all the logistics.
And let's be honest, the holidays are often a time of heightened emotions anyway.
Yeah.
You've got those nostalgic memories, the pressure to create the perfect celebration,
Right.
family dynamics, all of that.
And when you layer in the complexities of a divorce,
Yeah,
those feelings can get magnified.
absolutely.
I think it's important to acknowledge that
Yes.
it's okay to feel a sense of sadness or grief,
Yeah.
or even loneliness during the holidays, especially if it's your first time celebrating them separately
For sure.
from your former spouse.
Don't try to bottle those feelings up.
Yeah,
Don't pretend everything is fine.
right.
Allow yourself to experience those emotions. Don't hesitate to reach out for support if you need it. Absolutely. Having that support system
Yeah,
can make a world of difference,
it really can.
especially during those tough moments.
Talk to friends, family
Yeah.
members,
Yeah.
even consider talking to a therapist.
And don't forget about your children's emotions, too.
Oh, that's so important.
They might be feeling confused, anxious,
Right.
or even sad about the changes in their family
Yeah,
and how they celebrate the holidays.
of course.
So how can we as parents help our kids navigate those big feelings,
Yeah.
especially during a time that's supposed to be about joy and togetherness?
I think open and honest communication is key.
Yeah.
Let your children know that it's okay to feel sad or confused. Create a safe space where they can express their feelings without judgment.
It's about validating those emotions, not dismissing them.
Exactly.
Okay.
Reassure them that even though the family structure might be different,
Right.
the love and care they receive from both parents hasn't changed one bit.
It's about emphasizing that constant love, regardless of the changing circumstances.
Okay.
Another helpful strategy is to maintain some consistency
Uh-huh.
and familiar traditions,
Yeah,
even if those traditions need to be adapted
right.
to fit the new family dynamic.
I'm thinking of things like decorating the tree together,
Yes?
baking those special holiday cookies that everyone loves.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it happens on a different day or in a different location,
Right.
but the ritual itself remains intact.
Exactly. Those little things can go a long way
Yeah.
in helping children feel grounded and connected
All right.
during a time of transition.
Yeah, we've talked a lot about creating that perfect holiday plan.
Right.
But even with the best intentions
Uh-huh.
and a color-coded shared calendar, unexpected things happen.
Oh, for sure.
Life loves to throw those curveballs,
Yeah.
especially when you least expect them.
You can plan down to the minute,
Uh-huh.
but there's always a chance that something will come up,
Okay.
especially during the holidays.
So let's talk about those curveballs.
Okay.
What are some common unexpected situations
Yeah.
that might crop up during the holidays? And how can parents best navigate them?
One scenario that comes up all the time is illness.
Okay.
A child might wake up on Christmas morning with a fever,
Right.
or a parent might come down with the flu. It
And
happens.
suddenly those perfectly planned travel arrangements
Yep.
or holiday gatherings need to be adjusted.
Exactly. And this is where that flexibility we keep talking about is crucial.
Yeah, you might need to adjust the schedule on the fly
Right.
or be willing to deviate from the original plan.
It's about being understanding
Right.
and putting the child's well-being first,
Yeah.
even if it means letting go of your own preferences or expectations.
Another curveball that can throw a wrench in the holiday gears
Okay.
is unexpected work obligations.
Oh, yeah. I hear that one a lot.
A parent might get called in for an emergency shift or have a project with a sudden deadline
Right.
that requires extra attention.
It's tough, especially during the holidays.
Yeah.
When many businesses have limited staffing.
Yeah. The key is to communicate openly with your co-parent
Absolutely.
and try to find solutions that work for everyone.
Yes. Teamwork.
Maybe you can adjust your work schedule,
Mm-hmm.
find coverage.
Yeah.
Or if all else fails, work out a temporary change to
Right.
the parenting schedule
Exactly.
to accommodate those work demands.
It's about being supportive of each other.
And then, of course, there's the curveball that tends to pop up as kids get older,
Oh, yes.
their own social calendars.
That's a big one.
Suddenly, it's not just about fitting in time with both parents.
Right.
It's about juggling holiday parties with friends,
Uh-huh.
school events,
Yeah.
maybe even trips with other families.
That's a whole new ball game.
And as much as we want to prioritize family time during the holidays,
Yeah.
It's important to recognize and respect our children's growing independence
Absolutely.
and their own social circles.
I agree.
It's about finding that balance between honoring family traditions and allowing our children to create their own memories and experiences.
Maybe you adjust the schedule slightly to accommodate their plans. Or
Yeah.
maybe you even incorporate some of their friends into your family celebrations. It's about being creative and adaptable.
As we wrap up this deep dive into holiday parenting time in Illinois,
Okay.
what are the most important takeaways you want our listeners to remember?
I would say first and foremost, remember, this is a journey, not a destination.
Right.
Creating a holiday schedule that works for your family is an ongoing process that requires flexibility, communication, and a willingness to adapt to the unexpected.
It's not about achieving perfection. It's about finding solutions that feel good for everyone involved.
I love that.
And remember, you don't have to go it alone.
You don't.
There are resources available to support you.
Absolutely.
Whether it's your co-parent, a trusted family member, or a friend, a therapist, or even a legal professional.
Right.
Don't hesitate to reach out for help when you need it. And above all, remember that the holidays are a time for creating memories, spreading joy, and for fostering those special bonds with your children.
Absolutely.
By focusing on those priorities, you can navigate even the most challenging situation. Create a truly magical holiday season for everyone.
Beautifully said.
It's about finding that balance between the practical and the emotional.
Right.
Remembering that at the heart of it all, it's about love, connection, and creating those cherished holiday moments.
I love that.
And remember, if you want to dive deeper into any of the legal aspects we've discussed, you can find a link to that informative article from Anderson, Boback, and Marshall in our show notes.
Sounds good.
And as always, thank you for joining us on the Deep Dive.
My pleasure.
We'll be back next week with another fascinating topic to explore together.